Hi, thank you for taking the time to listen to this short video on natural energy medicine. In this series of educational videos, I want to discuss the causes of health and how to restore them. My name is Dr. Gary Graham. I was born the same month that my father graduated from Logan College of Chiropractic. Then, in January 1975, I also graduated from Logan College and have practiced in Colorado since that time. I began studying applied kinesiology in the early 1970s while still in chiropractic college. I was a member of the ICAK for many years after graduation, where I was introduced to and studied low-level laser therapy, commonly referred to as LLLT. Also, frequency therapy, homeopathy, clinical nutrition, infrared telethermography, and many other branches of the healing arts. Then, just like most all doctors that have been in practice for some time, I began developing unique therapy procedures utilizing all of my past experiences and different healing procedures that I've studied. However, the one concept that interested me the most was low-level laser therapy and how such a simple element of light could not only have such systemic effects on the body, but also have systemic and dramatic effects on all other procedures and how it tied them all together. And as I began incorporating all of these techniques together, it became apparent that it was more than just low-level laser therapy or any of the other procedures alone, so I began referring to this as a whole as natural energy medicine. This series of short videos will outline this work and cover the basics of the science behind this technology, and also what I and my close team of professionals have learned over the past 40 years or so of studying under the world's leading specialists in each of these different fields of healthcare. And I believe that our contribution to this field of healthcare is not to know everything that all these specialists know, because that would be impossible, but to understand the basics enough to be able to take the functional parts of each procedure and incorporate them all into one functional healthcare system that we now call natural energy medicine. However, before we begin, there are a couple of things I want to cover to try and minimize any misunderstanding. First is that this series of videos is actually one continuous overview article on natural energy medicine, broken up into short subjects, but all still related. And as with any series, each video will build on the next, so to follow the information, it is easiest to listen to them in order. Then, much of this information will be relatively new to many individuals and completely unique to many others, which means that it will be a new paradigm of thought for most people. Now, a paradigm is defined as a set of assumptions, concepts, values, and practices that constitutes a way of viewing reality. It can be a personal paradigm or for an entire community that shares them, especially in an intellectual discipline such as healthcare. This paradigm serves as a pattern or a model for that community. Since a paradigm is an actual view of your reality, it is not easily changed, especially for an entire community. So I would like those individuals to accept these new paradigms as a possibility that deserves further thought and investigation before you decide to discard them. We will begin with low-level laser therapy and add the different therapies as we go through the different videos. Everyone talks about low-level laser and why their lasers are the best, but I have never heard anyone really describe what they're actually trying to accomplish with the different forms of laser therapy, or how it's supposed to work, or even how it's supposed to correct any health issue. And when they do make an attempt, it becomes apparent that very few really understand the science behind this technology. In this series, I will present to you as much factual science as I can. Even though science has documented infrared laser therapy quite completely, science has only documented a small part of how low-level laser therapy works. Don't get me wrong, they have performed tens of thousands of clinical studies that document what it does. They're just not sure how it does it. So besides the science, I will also present well-documented theories on how low-level laser therapy or natural energy medicine does many other things that science still cannot explain. Therefore, in this video, I would like to try and describe, in my opinion, how and why natural energy medicine has such amazing effects on so many different health issues. To do this, I have to start at the beginning with a question that I asked myself many years ago. That question was, why do we have chronic health issues? Or why do the same health issues keep returning? Why is it that when I adjust a spinal distortion or balance a meridian or do any one of a possible 100 other procedures to help a patient, in most of those patients, these same conditions seem to return and need to be corrected time and time again? I was taught that these are just chronic conditions caused by old injuries and compromised tissues. But the older I get, the less I'm accepting these excuses and think there's got to be more to this than meets the eye. That led me to ask the next question. That question is, why does the body remember the distortions and abnormal functions better than it remembers the proper body functions? Which also led me to ask, if the body does remember the abnormal functions, which it certainly appears that it obviously does, then why? And what is the concept that we call memory anyway? And how does it work? What is the means that allows us to remember our name or who we are? Where and how is that information stored exactly? And even more importantly, how can we retrieve that information on demand? And even more important than that, why is it that we can lose that memory? And most importantly, how do we sometimes find it again? And other times we can't. And when two people have been married for almost 50 years, such as my wife and I, when we talk about things that occurred, say, 40 years ago, why is it that we both have similar but quite different memories about the same experience? Then I realized that probably neither one of us remembered the experience exactly correctly, but that our memory became distorted and corrupted by many other influences. And if this can occur with our conscious memory, why can't the same thing occur with our subconscious or our body memory? We know that our body was born with and remembers how we're supposed to work and function. But what if that memory, similar to our conscious memory, only remembers a distorted or a corrupted version of that function? Could this be another cause of chronic health issues? This would mean that instead of the body trying to help us correct an issue, it would continue to try and return the condition to the abnormal state or the state that it thinks it should be in. And if so, any therapy that could help improve the recollection or restoration of our body memory could possibly improve almost any health issue that we could suffer from. Imagine for a second that the body's program that controls the immune system's ability to find, identify, kill, and then create an immunity to a virus becomes corrupted, even a little bit. Wouldn't this also predispose this patient to be vulnerable to any virus that it's exposed to at the same degree? Wouldn't this also explain why if a number of people were exposed to a virus that most would be fine, others may get sick, and possibly some could even die? And it would be all dependent on how compromised or corrupted the body's immune system is. Science has well documented the amazing effects of low-level laser therapy on the central nervous system, including neuroplastic stimulation, which is a major pre-requirement for nervous system repair and restoration. It has also documented all forms of wound healing with countless scientific studies. It's also documented a systemic therapeutic response in the body. To me, this concept is just one of the many logical relationships between systemic therapeutic healing responses, including the recovery of chronic health issues through the utilization of low-level laser therapy. In the following videos, we will discuss in detail the most common forms of laser therapy and why true low-level laser therapy can create photobiomodulation, where some other forms of laser therapy usually fail to do so. We will also discuss frequency biomodulation, homeopathy, clinical nutrition, essential oils, reflexology, spinal adjustments, and more, which are all essential components of true natural energy medicine, with low-level laser therapy being the essential common factor that ties all of these therapies together. Natural energy medicine is the ultimate goal of low-level laser therapy and why it has such amazing systemic effects on the body. We thank you for your time, and we pray you visit us again for the next video in this series titled toxic frequencies of our environment, where we will discuss how body memory can get corrupted in the first place. As always, for further questions or information about Laser Pulsar Systems therapy products, or any information contained in any of these videos, please contact me, Dr. Gary Graham, or anyone at these contacts.